Okay. Let's see where we are on YouTube. Okay, we're connected. Good. Hello, Rain McKnight. Wow, that was lightning fast reflexes. This stream is going to be a bit of a doozy. It's got a lot of content. So first we're going to start out with the champion pack. The first one, these are replacing the tournament packs. I guess it should have been in the previous stream, but we're actually going to put it right after Cyberdark Impact. It's not a significant addition to the game, but technically these cards would be released a little bit earlier than we're displaying them. After that, we have the meat and potatoes. We got Cyberdark Impact, which is a big set. Spoiler alert, Cyberdark Impact, the card, is not in this set for some reason. Following this, we got the promos from GX02 and later 03. So 2 video game promos. We got the McDonald's cards. Those are weird. I have a sneaking suspicion that the McDonald's cards in particular are tournament pack filler that got given to Ronald. I don't know. It's a little bit weird. After that, Structure Deck 10. That's Machine Revolt, a lot of ancient gear, and the introduction of the gadgets. Shonen Jump 2007 promo card is Crush Card Virus. Amazing. Then we're finishing off with Duelist Pack 3 and 5. Where's 4? Not released yet. Let's go from Milo. Thank you. It's always nice to see you. Going to be a big stream. But let's get right into it. First up, Cyberdark Horn. Dark attribute, level 4, machine, effect. If this card is normal summon, target one level 3 or lower dragon monster in your graveyard. Equip that dragon monster to this card. Gains attack equal to the original attack of the monster equipped to it by this effect. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. If this card would be destroyed by battle, destroy that equipped monster instead. 800 attack, 800 defense. I think all 3 Cyberdark cards have a little bit of a gimmick with them, because Cyberdark Impact, again not in this set for whatever reason, comes out and then you can fusion summon with the 3 Cyberdarks and bring out a big monster. Individually though, I like the design behind them. I like that this is a revision of what Union monsters are. It equips from the graveyard. It doesn't take up an additional normal summon. You still get that layer of protection, and it's a little bit clearer what each one does. It just gives you attack points for equipping a monster, but then each one has a bonus effect on top of it. Horn, for instance, has piercing battle damage. In terms of targets, it's a little bit weird that you're trying to make machines and dragons synergize together, and low-level dragons at that. You got Twin-Headed Behemoth. I believe Hunter Dragon comes out either next set or in a few sets. So you do get a beefy target for this. 2300 attack, that's not bad on a level 4. Good evening or whatever time it is for you, from Lyrical Star. Good evening. I think you don't play these in the Cyberdark archetype because there's retrains of them. If you're playing specifically Cyberdark Impact for some card advantage, then you could be playing these cards. It is a free fusion monster, and it's not a bad one. I think you use it in Norliris Turbo, but they might just end up in Gimmick. By the way, alternate artwork, I love the purple. I think they look better in purple. Konami, where are you at? Next up, Cyberdark Edge. Ooh, the edgiest one. Dark Attribute, level 4, Machine effect. If this card is normal summoned, target one level 3 or lower dragon monster in your graveyard, equip that dragon monster to this card, gains attack equal to the original attack of the monster equipped to it by this effect. This card can attack directly. If it does using this effect, its attack is halved during damage calculation only. If this card would be destroyed by battle, destroy the equipped monster instead. 800 attack, 800 defense. In terms of effects, they are really afraid of just letting you get through for damage by attacking directly. The half battle damage from direct attacks is a super common theme going forward. I've noticed on like 4 or 5 different cards. But we're going to put it in the same tier as its friend. Ow, the edge. It does look sharp. Sort of looks like edge and sabers, to tell the truth. Finally, our last Cyberdark is Cyberdark Keel. Dark Attribute, level 4, Machine effect. If this card is normal summoned, target one level 3 or lower dragon monster in your graveyard, equip that dragon monster to this card, gains attack equal to the original attack of the monster equipped to it by this effect. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict 300 damage to your opponent. If this card would be destroyed by battle, destroy the equipped monster instead. 800 attack, 800 defense. So the first 2 cards had okay augmented battle, piercing battle damage, direct attack. Those are slightly impactful, but 300 burn damage is both random and inconsequential. There are cards that, damage your opponent and then deal additional damage on top of that. I think they're more in the range of like 2,000 damage for Mass Chopper, which I believe is in this set, or in this stream, right at the end. No? Mass Chopper might be coming up in a few streams. But that's significantly more than 300 damage. You also get cards that burn for more damage, even in this set. I think 300 damage once a turn is almost nothing. Assuming, you can only attack once. Next up, Cyber Ogre. Earth Attribute, level 5, Machine effect. By discarding this card from your hand to the graveyard, negate one battle involving a Cyber Ogre on your side of the field, and it gains 200 attack until the end of its next battle. This effect can be activated during either player's turn. 1900 attack, 1200 defense. This is a hand trap, but it's like one that hurts my head. This is a hand trap that requires you to have another copy of it on the field. And then it negates an attack and then gives you additional attack. So I guess it's sort of like Utopia, where you negate your own attack and then you get a bonus with double or nothing. Or maybe you negate your opponent's attack and then it gains a whole bunch of attack and then your opponent doesn't want to attack again. But that's not netting you card advantage. It's just dissuading your opponent from attacking, and Wabaku, or Threatening Roar, does that better. Plus, the card is just really hard to get out. 1900 attack means you can't cheat it out with Giant Rat. I think this card's just bad. It is fusion material for Cyber Ogre number 2, but I don't think that helps it any. I love negating my own attacks from Lyrical Star. Excellent. I guess you could panic. Like, aha, your opponent activates something in response to your attack, and then you can negate your attack. I'm not sure if you can. This card might cause problems, too. Next up, Cyber Esper. Fire Attribute, level 4. Machine effect. While this card is in attack position, you can look at every card your opponent draws. 1200 attack, 1800 defense. I like the artwork a lot For some reason, in the alternate artwork, they took the psychic orbitals, psychic rings, psychic ellipses, and put it in front of the monster. I like it, but if you didn't know what the monster looks like, then you're not going to understand it. I think we already have Mind on Air, which lets you look at every card in your opponent's hand, which is significantly better, and it's another way that you might use an attribute floater in order to cheat this out. But I think it's just really slow and awkward. This is once per turn inexperienced spy if this card remains in attack position. I think it's even bad. I was going to put in filler, but it might be worse than that. I love the artwork, though. This card could definitely be a psychic in the future. Not being vulnerable to spell and trap removal is something, I guess. Oh, hey, I'm only a few cards late. Welcome, Malachite. Next up, we got the Allure Queens, and you can special summon these directly from the deck, ignoring their summoning conditions, which probably elevates them significantly more than I'd normally say. There is a whole archetype out there, but I don't think that the archetype is particularly good. It does some things very well. Special summoning from the deck, extension, got a link monster. There's a lot going for it, but I don't think it's ever gotten to the point of meta. And even then, you got an option between which of these you choose. Do you go for the low level one? Do you go for the high level one? They each got their own perks and benefits. Cyber Esper being a super rare is a crime? Oh man. But it probably looks really good in Hollow. I'm not going to argue that. I've heard no end of Cyberdark Impact is the worst set ever? But here's hoping. I don't think it's the worst set ever. I'm trying to think of a garbage set that contributed nothing to the game. It's like Legend of Blue Eyes still has a few cards, Metal Raiders still has a few cards, Labyrinth of Nightmare was a little rough. There's definitely going to be some cards that are worth playing today in this set. I'll put it that way. The new Allure Queens are a solid engine with no archetype that needs it. That's the way. Not the worst. It has some of the cards that made an impact at least. I agree. A Cyberdark impact, even. Let's get back to the Allure Queens. First one, Allure Queen level 3, Dark Attribute level 3, Spellcaster effect. Once per turn during your main phase, you can select one level 3 or lower monster on the opponent's side of the field and equip it to this card. Only one card at a time can be equipped due to this effect. If this card would be destroyed by battle, the equipped monster is destroyed instead. During your standby phase, by sending this card to the graveyard while it's equipped due to its effect, special summon one Allure Queen level 5 from your hand or deck. 500 attack, 500 defense. I think we put them in the same place as we put the Cyberdark cards. I don't even think that they're quite at the level of an archetype yet. Cyberdark Impact is one of those good sets where there are more good commons and rares than hollows. Modern Allure Queen is fine. Impact. Go up to level 5, we get Allure Queen level 5, Dark Attribute level 5, Spellcaster effect. Once per turn during your main phase, if this card was special summoned by the effect of Allure Queen level 3, you can select one level 5 or lower monster on your opponent's side of the field and equip it to this card. Only one card at a time can be equipped due to this effect. If this card would be destroyed by battle, the equipped monster is destroyed instead. During your standby phase, by sending this card to the graveyard while it's equipped due to its effect. Man, hard to read. Special summon 1 Allure Queen level 7 from your hand or deck. 1000 attack, 1000 defense. Those stats are pretty bad. And it's not like you can bring it out with Mystic Tomato, because you can't get the effect then. And we'll talk about the 2 level cards in this set being an anomaly in a minute, but I'm gonna put you right here. Our final Allure Queen is Allure Queen level 7. Dark Attribute, level 7, Spellcaster effect. Once per turn during your main phase, if this card was special summoned by the effect of Allure Queen level 5, you can select 1 monster on your opponent's side of the field and equip it to this card. Only 1 card at a time can be equipped due to this effect. If this card would be destroyed by battle, the equipped monster is destroyed instead. 1500 attack, 1500 defense. Finally, we get a good relinquished effect. It's not level gated. For one thing, this card are, I guess, Link monsters and Xyz monsters sort of break the first 2 Allure Queens. But this card doesn't care. It doesn't care about levels, so it's a lot stronger of an effect. And this is probably the one that you play when you are playing the engine. This set is honestly really interesting. I remember it being widely panned on release as maybe the worst set in the GX era. But as time went on, a ton of these cards began to shine. Yeah. There are a lot of late bloomers, I'd say. I think I'm actually going to put them in reverse order in terms of playability. Next up, we got Dark Lucius level 4. Earth Attribute level 4. Fiend effect. The effects of your opponent's monster that this card destroys by battle are negated. During your next standby phase after this card destroys a monster by battle, by sending this card to the graveyard, special summon 1 Dark Lucius level 6 from your hand or deck. 1000 attack, 300 defense. This card is pretty important for the lore. This is one of the potential fates for Warrior Digrepher. Like, when he takes the paths of destiny, he can go down the dark path and turn into Dark Grepher, the light path turn into Light Ray Grepher, and I guess enter Dark World and turn into Dark Lucius level 4, or I guess be corrupted and turn into Dark Lucius level 4. Hey, is that Grepher I see? Yes, it is. There's a card that references this too. It's really bad since the good cards here are either stun, burn, or other stuff that enables degenerate plays. Ooh, I can largely agree with that. I think this is where Chain Strike comes into the game. Yep, Chain Strike. Accumulated Fortune. There are some good stun tools, though. Now, let's see what the level 6 looks like. Dark Lucius level 6, Earth Attribute, level 6. Sort of looks like a Excaton Knight. Maybe it's just the pose and the wings sort of looking like Elytra. Maybe it's just me. Fiend effect. If this card was special summoned by the effect of Dark Lucius level 4, the effects of your opponent's monsters that this card destroys by battle are negated. During your next standby phase after this card has negated your opponent's monster effect, by sending this card to the graveyard, special summon 1 Dark Lucius level 8 from your hand or deck. Yikes. So, not only does this have to destroy a monster by battle, it's got to destroy a monster by battle that has a floating effect or a flip effect with its giant 1700 attack points, and it's already real hard to bring out. Also, you can't just level up into Dark Lucius level 6, because it requires you to play the previous level 4 just to bring it out. But maybe it all pays off when we get to the level 8. Artwork's getting pretty good, to be honest. Dark Lucius level 8 is Earth Attribute, level 8, Fiend effect. If this card was special summoned by the effect of Dark Lucius level 6, your opponent's monsters that this card destroys by battle are removed from play and their effects are negated. 2800 attack, 900 defense. At least it has a decent stat lineup, but the hoops that you gotta bring out to get this guy are really not worth it. Sword he's wielding sort of looks like the Dragon Slayer from Berserk. I like that. This guy is just worse than Dark Ruler Hades. I agree. Well, at least he's good at hating battle tutors. Yeah. But again, we got Dark Ruler Hades and I think Twin-Headed Wolf does the same thing. And there's also Wicked Breaking Flomberge Bow, which you can equip to your monsters and have the same effect. 1000 attack is really not a lot too. Like, getting over monsters with these cards is a real challenge. Oh yeah, 80% useless, 20% bafflingly strong. I definitely agree, pretty polarizing set. I don't understand why level monsters are still coming out. I feel like these could have come out towards the tail end of the Duel Monsters era. I'm not saying that they'd be good, but it'd make more sense. It's also interesting that level monsters have sort of evolved to not use level up. Like, their specific mechanic and their specific support doesn't apply to these for some reason. Truly baffling. Oop. How long have I been off the level 8? Next up, Stray Asmodian. Fire Attribute, level 3, Fiend effect. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by battle, both players gain 800 life points, 1300 attack, 1700 defense. I think there are easier ways to do this. I believe Reign of Mercy just gives both players 1000 life points as a spell card, so you don't have to get it out on the field, which is, you know, a bit of a challenge. Burning Algae gives your opponent life points. That's not that bad. Specifically in Nurse Burn. Normally this is against every tenet of the game. You don't want to be giving your opponent advantages for no reason. I think that this card is even outshined by Mechadog Maron, which can also do some damage, can burn both players, and I think that's significantly better. Gift card gives your opponent 3000 life points, and yeah. Gift card is not in this set, it looks like. But I agree, gift card does it a lot better. And gift card is gimmicky. Next up, Abaki. Name's cool. Fire Attribute, level 4, Fiend effect. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by battle, both players take 500 damage, 1700 attack, 1000 defense. It's a little bit interesting. It's not quite the reverse stat lineup of Stray Asmodian. I think this is filler. Symmetric burn, not the best. Attack lineup, the attack points are a little bit below where you want to be. Probably 1900 is the minimum for just a beater. But the name's cool. Is the deck even Nurse Burn yet? Or is it still bad reaction burns? I actually think the deck doesn't get off the ground until we get Nurse, because I don't think it has the critical mass necessary. I think with just running 3 bad reaction to Samuchi, you're going to have consistency issues, and I think you need the 3 Nurse. Abaki, known only for being a joke on Rada's channel. It's true. Memes out of my system. We're not putting meme cards up higher than they deserve. Next up, Flame Ogre. Fire attribute, level 7. Fiend effect. This card cannot be special summoned. When this card is normal summoned, draw 1 card. 2400 attack, 1700 defense. Ideally, you're tributing Flame Ruler for this card, in which case it's a 1 tribute monster, and then you're gaining 1 card for that tribute summon. And then you're sort of getting a Monarch. It's 2400 attack, slightly more defense points than a Monarch, but doesn't have instant impact like a Monarch. And that's the best case scenario. If you're going -1 to summon this off of a tribute summon, instead of, net neutral, I think this card's a little bit of a trap. It looks like draw power, but I just don't think it's strong enough on its own. This card is not Molten Zombie. Molten Zombie has a little bit of potential because you can, bring it back over and over again. Junior Journey reference. This card was tier 0 in that format. Utterly unplayable outside of that. Okay, if you can normal summon this monster without tributing and just draw a card and have a 2400 attack beater, yes, the card gets a lot better. Oof. Next up, Snipe Hunter. Dark attribute, level 4, Fiend effect. You can discard 1 card, then target 1 card on the field. Roll a 6-sided die, and destroy that target unless you roll a 1 or a 6. 1500 attack, 600 defense. This card was meta, and it was just premium removal. That is, 66% chance of popping a card. That's not bad. You can hit monsters in addition to spells and traps. This card saw play. Of course, you want to be discarding cards that you want in the graveyard, or even Sinister Serpent's a really good card to combo with Snipe Hunter. Snipe Hunter is the best card in old Yu-Gi-Oh! Snipe Hunter was broken? I can agree that it's really strong, but maybe not broken. Just 1-for-1 removal, not once per turn. It is a pretty strong combination. Snipe Hunter was so frustrating. Yeah. I don't like when cards are balanced by randomness. I think that that's a bad idea. Because when Snipe Hunter goes off, it's going to be pop, 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 pop. I guess like Dark Arm Dragon or Insectors. But on a bad day, Snipe Hunter is just going to be miss, 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 miss. At least the odds are in your favor. It could be significantly worse than that. Next up, Asmodian. Fire attribute, level 3, Fiend effect. If any spell or traps are chained, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. 1000 attack, 300 defense. I'm thinking that you might play Asmodian as your normal summon in Chainburn, which might sound a little bit weird. Snipe Hunter becomes a celebrity for a while. Yep, he shows up in all sorts of dice-related traps. He's in Dice Nide, he's in Dice Dice, he's in Redemption. That's not the name of it. Important for the lore, I'll put it that way. I think maybe you could argue Asmodian and Chainburn. What are you using your normal summon for anyway? Mechadog Marin, maybe? Maybe Spirit Reaper? I could see it. His free damage. And it does... it might not contribute to your chain links now that I think of it. Next up, Vanity's Fiend. Dark attribute, level 6. Fiend effect, cannot be special summoned. Neither player can special summon monsters. 2400 attack, 1200 defense. This card is not quite a Monarch, so you can't tap into that Monarch support, unfortunately. Seeing it blown up for the first time, I've never noticed the black roses in the background. I always thought it was just full black behind them, but it's a whole bunch of black roses, and then you got some white roses in the foreground, and his really hairy arm. Vanity's Fiend is really good. I'm putting it right up here. Now we have 8 design mistakes in a row. Ooh, these are going to be contentious, aren't they? Yeah, earlier I honestly forgot that Vanity's Duo came out in this set. That's absolutely a lot of sets worse than this. Yeah. Let's get into the 6-part travesty with our barrier statues. First is Barrier Statue of the Abyss. Dark attribute, level 4, Fiend effect. Neither player can special summon monsters except dark monsters. 1000 attack, 1000 defense. Barrier Statue of the Torrent. Water attribute, level 4, Aqua effect. Neither player can special summon monsters except water monsters. 1000 attack, 1000 defense. Barrier Statue of the Inferno. Fire attribute, level 4, Pyro effect. Neither player can special summon monsters except fire monsters. 1000 attack, 1000 defense. Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. Wind attribute, level 4, Winged Beast effect. Neither player can special summon monsters except wind monsters. 1000 attack, 1000 defense. Barrier Statue of the Drought. Earth attribute, level 4, Rock effect. Neither player can special summon monsters except earth monsters. 1000 attack, 1000 defense. And finally, Barrier Statue of the Heavens. Light attribute, level 4, Fairy effect. Neither player can special summon monsters except light monsters. Okay, so the 6 barrier statues all do roughly the same thing, but format dependent, some are usually better than others, which is a little bit broad. One thing I never noticed, for some reason I thought that all 6 of them were Fiend type monsters, but no, only the Abyss one is Fiend. So we got a Fiend, an Aqua, a Pyro, a Winged Beast, a Rock, and a Fairy. So you actually have a lot more options when you're tapping into generic support. I guess that means Abyss is searchable with Creeping Darkness. I'm not sure, what would you do to bring out Barrier Statue of the Torrent? Inferno is now searchable with Bonfire, which is pretty good. Stormwinds is searchable with Swallow's Nest and... where are you? Bam. Samorg, Bird of Sovereignty. Stormwinds is currently banned, and the big problem is probably Samorg? I'm not going to say that Samorg is the only problem, because Swallow's Nest tutoring Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds is actually really strong, and a play that you could see in a lot of different Winged Beast decks, like Raid Raptors or Blackwings. You want to have level 4s for it, but Harpies could take out Stormwinds. Harpies are actually probably the best option for Stormwinds. Torrent can be used in Mermails. That's where we're thinking. There's probably a way to get Drought to be useful. And the Heavens one, Barrier Statue of the Heavens, is actually pretty good since Hecatrice searches Valhalla, and Valhalla can special summon it directly. Yeah, Stormwind is banned from Floranderies. I still blame Samorg. Special summoning it directly from the deck. Currently banned, we'll say design mistake. But the other 5, I think they're worth considering today. But they're not healthy for the game. I think that's where we're gonna do. Pros, they look cool. Cons, they only function. Their only function is being lame. Yeah. I can imagine a world where all 6 barrier statues end up getting banned. But for right now, I think thinking about them, this is probably the right location for them. Fire is in Rush Duels and it still got banned even in the infinite normal summon format. Wow. To be honest, I feel like all of them could go in design mistake. Okay. The fact that you can special summon all 6 of them is part of the problem. At least with Vanity's Fiend and Vanity's Ruler, there's a hurdle that you gotta jump over. So, speaking of which, we got Vanity's Ruler. Light attribute, level 2, 4, 6, 8. Fairy effect. Cannot be special summoned. So you can't cheat it out with Valhalla, which is really good design. You can with Archlord Christia, but Christia is not in the game yet, so. Your opponent cannot special summon monsters. 2,500 attack, 1,600 defense. Does this card just win you the game? Possibly. I think that this card is too hard to get out, though. But you can cheat him out with Mausoleum. That's true. Mausoleum of the Emperor, pay 2,000 life points, normal summon Vanity's Ruler. The fact that it eats up your normal summon is also a pretty big cost, at least in the terms of the modern game. I know a lot of decks don't even need their normal summon to go off. I think we're going to put them right next to each other. Man, I just now noticed the ruler has a background of white roses, and then underneath his cape he has the black roses. The 2 artworks are related. That's really cool. I don't know. Anyone else got this recommended after watching Ruxin open Cyberdark Impact? Hey, I'll take that. Got lucky on this one, I guess. Next up, we have Iris the Earth Mother. Mother? Iris the Earth Mother. Light attribute, level 6, fairy effect. After a chain with 3 or more links resolves, draw 1 card. This effect cannot activate if multiple cards/effects with the same name were activated in that chain. 2,400 attack, 1,200 defense. You can get this card out. It's a fairy. I don't think this quite works with counter fairies, because you're only usually getting to link 2 in your chain. This deck, this set being, chain links matter and columns matter, is a little interesting, but I don't think it quite pays off the way that they think it does. It sounds really good, but I don't think it quite gets there. Because drawing cards is always great. You can cheat this card out. Iris is obviously not good now, but it does feel like there's ever an archetype that can self-chain consistently, she'll be a card advantage Titan. Yeah. Especially with Valhalla. Or I guess, not Miraculous Descent. What is the other one? The quick play spell that can special summon fairies directly from your hand. That one might make more sense too. Maybe keep your eye out on Iris. Her counterpart is Lightning Punisher. Dark attribute level 7, Thunder effect. After a chain with 3 or more links resolves, destroy 1 card on your opponent's side of the field. This effect cannot activate if multiple cards/effects with the same name were activated in that chain. 2600 attack, 1600 defense. Theoretically, this is possibly more impactful, popping cards instead of drawing cards. It doesn't help your strategy, it doesn't push your game state forward like drawing cards does, but it's not a bad benefit. I just think that being level 7 knocks it down a peg for me. Artwork's cool though. Next up, filler card. We got Queen's Bodyguard. Earth attribute level 4, warrior effect. Allure Queen monsters on your side of the field cannot be selected as an attack target. 1700 attack, 1200 defense. I think that this card is underwhelming. It does what it says it does, and it is a bodyguard, and it does manage your opponent's attacks, but it only has 1700 attack on its own. Takes up your normal summon. It's searchable with Rhoda, but I don't think you even play this in Allure Queens. We're just gonna put it in bad. Yay! More combo cards, or I guess more chainlink cards. We got Combo Fighter, Wind attribute, level 4, warrior effect. If a chain of 2 or more links occurred in your main phase 1, this card can attack twice during the battle phase this turn. 1600 attack, 800 defense. We've been comparing double attackers to the bar set by Hayabusa Knight, which is also wind attribute, strangely enough, and a warrior, and Mataza the Zapper. This card actually has more attack than both of those cards, which is good. 1600 attack, you might actually get over some things. Not just tokens, but maybe some floaters or whatever your opponent is setting. That's not bad. Getting to Chainlink 2 isn't a very hard bar either, but it's got to be during your main phase specifically. I think the card's just filler, which is a little sad. It's interesting that we got Monk Fighter and then Master Monk, and then we get Combo Fighter and then Combo Master. I don't know how many sets it's been since the Lost Millennium, but it's interesting. This is also another wind attribute warrior. There's a surprising number of them that are okay to decent. Speaking of Combo Master, we got Wind attribute level 5, warrior effect. If a chain of 2 or more links occurred during your main phase 1, this card can attack twice during the battle phase this turn. 2200 attack, 1500 defense. Being a level 5 monster, I think it's fair to bring in other points of comparison. And like, what is it? Twin-Headed Beast has 1700 attack, can attack twice. This card's conditional, and it can attack twice. I think it just goes down one because it's a 1 tribute monster. Ooh. Why is Storming Wind in here? That is so strange because Storming Wind isn't in my folder. It looks like we got a ghost. Wind jump scare. Yeah, that's not intentional. Let's pull up the card that's supposed to be there. I have no idea how this even happens. But it looks like the card that was supposed to be there is Man Beast of Ares, and it somehow got replaced with Storming Wind. And I have no clue how. This monster is Earth Attribute, level 3, Beast Warrior, effect. After a chain of 2 or more links resolves, this card gains 500 attack, not once per turn. Starts with 500 attack, 500 defense. If you can chain your cards to your opponent's cards, specifically, like your opponent's activating cards one at a time and you're chaining yours, and then you only get to link 2, chain link 2. Yes, you could activate this effect multiple times without depleting your hand too bad, but I don't see that being useful. Wind jump scare. You're hyping up Wind Warriors too much, yeah? 500 is too weak for a baseline. If this card had 1800 attack as its base, I think we would actually be talking. Then, you know, chain link 2, get over a Cyber Dragon. That's not that bad. 2 chain link 2s, get over a Monarch. But that's giving the monster 1300 attack, and it is on a level 3. I guess they could make it a level higher, but right now I just think that it's a little too bad. Okay. Let's turn it off. Hopefully we're not gonna see any more Charmers invading us. That is unfortunately. This set gets like 2 different mechanics. We got columns matter and we got chain links matter. We're spoiled. Is the final image of every ranked cards you've made available for download? I want to see the full results and images. Not yet. RR honestly wasn't bad as a normal summon removal spell, more or less. Interesting. I'm going to get all the images done, but I need to go back and fix the first dozen sets that I did streams on, because I did not save the images. Also, I didn't do it correctly. So soon. I'll publish it eventually, hopefully. I think it's filler. Does about the same thing as Monk, as our combo fighter. Next up, Storm Shooter. Wind attribute, level 7, Winged Beast effect. Once per turn, you can select and activate one of these effects. Move this card to an adjacent unoccupied monster card zone. Or return one spell, trap, or monster card on the opponent's side of the field in the same column as this card to its owner's hand. 2300 attack, 500 defense. It's just really weird that this card takes 2 tributes to bring out. And it's really sad. I think the effect is okay. If you compare this to like Compulse on a monster, compulsory evacuation device on a monster, that's not that bad. Or I guess Spiritualism if you're bouncing a spell or trap. I know Spiritualism doesn't quite do it that way, but in terms of card economy, that's about the same. It's just, I think we're seeing a trend right here of monsters just being slightly too high level for their effects to have an impact. This week on Bad or Broken, I'm here for the best set ever from Hamad Mizra. Oh, Hamed Mirza. That is crazy. Someone else said that this is one of the worst sets ever, so. It's non-destruction, repeatable bouncing, but god is it slow. Yeah. I think one of the weird parts about the card is that you actually have to pick between putting it in the right place or using the effect. And that's going to be a handful. I know Senate Switch exists, but please don't be playing Senate Switch to enable Storm Shooter. Next up, we have Alien Infiltrator. Alien support, Earth attribute, level 2, reptile effect. Once per turn, this card can move to an adjacent unoccupied monster card zone. If no spell, trap, or monster card is in your opponent's side of the field, if no spell or trap or monster card on your opponent's side of the field is in the same column as this card, it can attack your opponent directly. 800 attack, 500 defense. And we gotta think real hard about this. One, it's another alien card that doesn't mention A counters, so it doesn't work with one of the mechanics of the archetype. Two, we got Servant of Catabolism like a dozen sets ago, and that card has 700 attack, can attack directly with no downside, doesn't have a requirement. Three, we got Raging Flame Sprite in the game, which not only attacks directly, but gets stronger every time it does it. This only has 800 attack. I think this card is outclassed. An alien that does nothing to advance the alien strategy. A joy. Kind of a gimmick in my honest opinion. I don't think it's a gimmick. Cyberdark Impact is one of the weirdest sets because it has a lot of broken cards, but most of it is bad. Yeah. I think it's just bad. Hypothetically, this is a level 2 that you could bring out with crop circles, maybe? I don't know if you need that degree of level diversity in the alien deck, though. I don't think so. Next up, Alien Mars. Fire attribute, level 3, reptile effect. The effects of effect monsters with 8 counters are negated, except for Alien Mars. 1000 attack, 1000 defense. And this is interesting. One, it does negate your own alien effects if you're accumulating 8 counters on your cards, which does happen. Two, this is another alien that doesn't interact with the 8 counter decreasing attack and defense like it should. Boy, 8 counters are inconsistent and giving me a headache. 3, this card's effect is not bad. Getting to turn off monster effects, pretty strong. Getting this card out and having it survive, less good. I guess you could Planet Pollutant Virus, wipe your opponent's board, start distributing 8 counters over the next few turns, just negate everything with Alien Mars. That's not that bad. I think it's a staple in modern alien decks. Alien Mars had potential, but its low stats and anti-synergy with cards and its own archetype sucks. At least Mars is interesting. Now this is an almost playable alien. Thank you, Milo. I think since you can bring it directly out from the deck, although with a little bit of hoops, modern aliens can place 8 counters on the opponent's turn. Yeah, that does help the deck a lot. But getting to that point is a long time away. I think other archetypes would love this effect, so acceptable. Now for the cover card, Cyberdark Dragon. Dark attribute, level 8, machine fusion effect. Materials are Cyberdark Horn, Cyberdark Edge, and Cyberdark Keel. Must be fusion summoned. If this card is special summoned, target 1 dragon monster in your graveyard, equip that target to this card. Gains attack equal to the original attack of the monster equipped to it by this effect. Gains 100 attack for each monster in your graveyard. If this card would be destroyed by battle, destroy the equipped monster instead, and it starts with a massive 1000 attack, 1000 defense. If you're in magical Christmas land, you're probably thinking, wow, I can put a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and get a 5,500 attack monster that gets even stronger by a measly 100 for each monster in your graveyard. That's not a lot. I think if this card had potential, not just because of Cyberdark impact, but this is also an Overload fusion target, and Overload fusion's not bad. You have to play one copy in Cyberdark Dragon and Modern Cyberdark, so that's fair. I know there's an upgraded version. We're just gonna put it here. By the skin of its teeth. At least we get a boss monster with a tiny bit of protection. Except, like, Dark Paladin had a lot more protection. Next up, Cyber Ogre 2. Earth attribute, level 7, machine, fusion, effect. Materials are Cyber Ogre and Cyber Ogre. A fusion summon of this monster can only be conducted with the above fusion material monsters. When this card attacks, it gains attack equal to half the attack of the attack target, during damage calculation only. That is 4 attack in the same sentence. Starts with 2,600 attack, 1,900 defense. That's not a bad effect. It's just not worth it to bring out the Cyber Ogre when you could be running Cyber Twin Dragon, getting multiple attacks, Cyber End Dragon, getting a lot more damage on board. In terms of, like, Cyberstein. Cyberstein gets banned. Cyberstein might already be banned. But I don't think you're bringing out Cyber Ogre. Oh, you can even bring out Cyber Ogre. Oh, you can bring out Cyber Ogre. Because it says, a fusion summon of this monster can only be conducted with the above fusion materials, and Cyberstein isn't a fusion summon. So you can bring this card out. Or I guess you could use Gale Dogra and then bring it back with a revival spell. I think the card's just bad. I think the artwork is weird. Like, you think about 2 Cyber Dragons coming together make Cyber Twin Dragon. This is not what I would picture for 2 Cyber Ogres coming together. Put them next to each other, though. Next up, Corruption Cell A. It's got one of those special character cards that messes with the way that cards are in the wiki, because it's got quotation marks on it. That's probably annoying to just me, though. Normal spell, place 1 A counter on 1 face-up monster on your opponent's side of the field. Now, here's a weird question. Why is the A and A counter not in quotation marks, but the Corruption Cell A is in quotation marks? Why is that? I think burning card advantage for a single A counter is never going to be worth it. This card just doesn't do enough. We get cards in the future that just give you A counters for free. I'd much rather have, like, an Effect Veiler than Alien Mars and this card. Or Breakthrough Skill. Just in terms of what you're actually getting from your A counters. There's not a lot of payoff. Next up, Flash of the Forbidden Spell. Activate only when all your monster card zones are occupied by Activate only when all your opponent's monster card zones are occupied by monsters. Destroy all monsters on your opponent's side of the field. I think the situation where this card is Raigeki is pretty rare. Most of the time, Lightning Vortex is going to be alive and probably about the same card economy. This is better than Lightning Vortex in that one situation, but when you compare it to other cards like Needle Sealing, which is also mass removal, and you can play around your own Needle Sealing by setting cards, I think Flash of the Forbidden Spell is a lot weaker. Plus with Needle Sealing, you can catch your opponent off guard when they get another monster on board. And when you compare it to like Torrential Tribute, it's even worse. I think this card's just bad. Corruption Cell A is so bad for spreading counters. Venom Swamp is a field spell and does it to every card and is also in the GX era. Yep. I think I want to say Venom cards are in 2 or 3 sets. Aliens get their own field spell. Why doesn't the A zone put A counters on every card during the end phase of every turn? I think the A zone doing anything would make it a better card, but we'll get there when we get there. Next up, Ritual Foregone. Normal spell, pay 1,000 life points. Special summon 1 ritual monster from your hand, but it cannot attack. Also destroy it during the end phase. You can only activate 1 Ritual Foregone per turn, so it's a hard once per turn. This is gimmicky, and I'm not sure if there's a major payoff for having a ritual monster on board. Like you think, oh, I can cheat out Herald of Perfection, but then it gets destroyed during the end phase. I think the situation where this card is good is when you need a ritual monster for specifically as a stepping stone. It's just pretty narrow. I like this card. It turns Relinquished into a removal spell, that's true. But you will go -1 on your Relinquished removal spell. I like the card, Ritual Foregone. I think it's really interesting. It's okay in Megalith? Okay. It's one of those cards that's good for tempo, but it also sort of breaks the ritual mechanic, which is nice. Its fusion counterpart is Instant Fusion. Normal spell, pay 1,000 life points. Special summon 1 level 5 or lower fusion monster from your extra deck. But it cannot attack, also it is destroyed during the end phase. This is treated as a fusion summon, so that part's really important. You can only activate 1 instant fusion per turn. It is interesting that instant fusion properly fusion summons, but Ritual Foregone doesn't properly ritual summon. But yeah, this card is great. It's a play extender. Sometimes you can get out what you need. It's not necessarily the best toolbox. If you want to, you can just get out a Panzer Dragon, let it die during the end phase, pop a card. That's not bad. I liked Ritual Foregone back then and Cyber Angels for putting Benton on field. Okay. Instant Fusion, my beloved from Malachite. Ritual Foregone would be cool as a normal trap. Ooh, I like that. Wasn't Instant Fusion banned for a while? I believe it's currently at 1. Okay, yeah. Instant Fusion's currently at 1. Still worth playing. Also, it's searchable now. Instant Fusion got banned in Master Duel because they didn't want to hit Tearlament's Kit Kalos. Yeah. Still playable. I think it's worth considering today. It does remove one of your extra deck slots, which is a little pricey to actually justify. There is a big opportunity cost for playing Instant Fusion. But I think it's flexible enough that it's worth considering. The fact that it's a fusion summon, like a proper one, means you can't bring out Dark Balter the Terrible, which I think is funny, because Dark Balter's not bad. Next up, we have the ultimate counterplay with Counter Cleaner. Normal spell, pay 500 life points, remove all counters from the field. Are those crystal beasts? What counters are even those? I guess, what is it? Crystal Tree gets crystal counters. Maybe they're the crystal counters. We don't get Crystal Tree forever. But I don't know. Oh no! All your A counters got taken away. All your Venom counters. From Hamed Mirza. It took me so long to realize instant fusion is a cup of ramen noodles. Not only is instant fusion ramen noodles, ready fusion is too. I think if counters ever become an oppressing part of the metagame, or if, Time Vault and Magic the Gathering had this problem, where cards that put counters on themselves as a restriction, and then if you take those counters off of it, it's a problem. Or maybe Time Vault worked the other way, where putting a counter on it broke it. Anyway, if there's ever an oppressive counter deck, Kappa, we have Counter Cleaner. What is up with the Pot of Greed? It's just having a bad day. Right now, this card does nothing. I don't know if you can even activate it when there aren't counters on the field. Maybe. I guess there's that one Xyz monster that's got fate counters on it. That's your win condition. Removing fate counters would be silly. Next up, we get the actually pretty balanced linear accelerator cannon. So, if you can tell in the artwork, this is another cannon soldier card. We had Mass Driver, and Mass Driver causes some serious problems. Because it's not once per turn and doesn't take up your normal summon, and then it's just Frog FTK. But this card seems to have learned from that, even though we're not to the point of Frog FTK yet. Normal spell, tribute one monster and inflict damage to your opponent equal to half that monster's original attack. If you activate this card, you cannot activate other spell cards this turn. So it's got a real big drawback. It tributes a monster and then it only does half the damage. And its original attack, so you can't get a goofy combo where you just keep gaining attack. I guess like maybe Mystical Beast Cerberus Spell Loop could get you lots of attack. Not nearly as funny as its later as its later trap counterparts though. Yeah. But I do like the design better. It's a little bit like Misfortune too, but I think most of the time that this card could be useful. We got Spiritual Fire Art Kurenai that does the full burn damage. So it's a -2 that does like 1500 damage. I guess if you're thinking about like the Rocket Arrow Express, that's got 5000 attack. Linear Accelerator is too balanced because of its original attack. I agree. Next up, Chain Strike. Oh boy. Quick play spell. Activate only as Chain Link 2 or higher. Inflict 400 damage to your opponent times the Chain Link number of this card. You cannot activate this card if multiple cards/effects with the same name are in that chain. I wonder if that text is specifically because like Ultimate Offering, you can chain the effect to Ultimate Offering, and you can just keep doing that. And you could get absurdly high chain links as a result, and then maybe one-shot your opponent with Chain Strike. I don't think that's their problem. I think mostly they're thinking, oh no, they'll activate Chain Strike and then they'll chain Chain Strike to do more damage. Another design mistake for the set. We're going to set a record today. Ooh. Armityle the Chaos Phantasm doing a whopping 0 damage when tributed by this card. Yeah, because that only gets the attack bonus during the opponent's turn, I believe. And it gets 10,000 attack, but that, you know. I think Chain Strike is unhealthy for the game. It just doesn't build a good play environment. It's non-interactive and it's unfun. Because they're just going to activate Threatening Roar, chain a whole bunch of cards like Accumulated Fortune, Chain Strike, to their own Threatening Roar, burn you for a lot of damage, recoup their lost cards, and you can't do any damage to them during that turn. Chain Strike is still limited for some reason. I guess because it won Dragon Duel Worlds in 2018. Interesting. I don't think the card's healthy for the game. Bizarrely enough, this isn't even the only chain card in this set. Get 2 more down here. We got well, we'll get to them later. I guess the question is, what does a healthy burn deck look like? Because it would need to not be an FDK, but how do you then make it playable? I sort of think a combination of normal strategy, you know, getting monsters on board doing damage, and then maybe finishing off your opponent with a little bit of burn. Like Alsham and Satellar Knights could be incidental burn damage. Gagaga Cowboy do a little bit burn at the end. People were talking about running Ukazi and Yosenju because you can't quite get to that OTK with Yosenju. I think Spiritual Fire Art Kurenai is a good balance point where you can play it in like Fire Kings or actually a whole bunch of different fire decks to be honest, and it can be that little push that you need at the end. But most of the time burn is just uninteractive and unfun. There might not be a good balance point. I think burn decks feel like you're playing the game wrong. That you're just sacrificing card advantage for little bits of damage. And that doesn't feel like a good grindy game. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't always grindy. A lot of the time it's explosive and OTKs. But I feel like burn doesn't quite fit in the way that the game works. The style of burn in Magic is favorable to me in a lot of ways, since the idea often is this can do something like destroy a card or do some burn damage. We have Dragon's Gunfire in Yu-Gi-Oh! Which does that, either does 800 points of burn damage or it destroys a monster with 800 or less defense, but there's a lot of problems with the way that numbers scale in Yu-Gi-Oh! Aromages, but they are evil and burn you, I guess. I don't know. I guess Trickstar also is partly a burn strategy, yeah. I do think that burn doubling as removal is much healthier for the game. Lightning Bolt, destroy your card. Well, Lightning Bolt's not balanced. Shock, destroy one of your cards. That's pretty good. But Yu-Gi-Oh's just not that way. Could you imagine destroy a 2000 defense monster for your card? That's not how the game is balanced. But you can easily destroy a 1 or a 2 drop with a shock in Magic. Different game. Next up, we got Miraculous Rebirth. Quick play spell. Activate only as Chainlink 4 or higher. Select one monster from either player's graveyard and special summon it. You cannot activate this card if multiple cards/effects with the same name are in that chain. This card's balanced. This card is Monster Reborn on a quick play spell. That's not bad. problem is Chainlink 4 is pretty hard to get to. It's totally possible, but I don't think that there's a deck that quite does it yet. Good evening, Jay Andrews. Raigeki, or it does burn damage. Snark, snark. We got a Raigeki filler outclassed? I think so. I think that's a good place for it. I feel like there is probably a deck at some point in the game that would like Miraculous Rebirth. It could be a very funny interruption in the right situation. That's true. But I'm trying to think. Like, maybe that weird deck that used Wind Up Rabbit that would banish Wind Up Rabbit. You'd activate, like, Compulsory Escape Device, target your rabbit, target one of your opponent's monsters, activate rabbit, and then that's 2 chain links, and then maybe 2 more? I don't know. There's probably something useful with it. Next up, Mystical Wind Typhoon. Quick play spell. Activate only as chain link 3 or higher. Destroy 1 spell or trap on the field. You cannot activate this card if multiple cards/effects with the same name are in that chain. So people actually played Mystical Wind Typhoon, specifically because Mystical Space Typhoon is at 1. This is the same reason that Twister saw some play, that, trying to think, there were several different MST imitators. Dust Tornado doesn't count. Dust Tornado is good in its own right, but MST's at 1. We got MST at home, or I guess MWT at home. We really were down bad for spell and trap removal, huh? Yeah. Mystical Space Typhoon was just way ahead of its time. Like, if you compare it to what was directly before it, and we got Dispel and we got Remove Trap, and it does the work of both of those cards, is faster. Yeah, Mystical Space Typhoon could have come out way later in the history of the game. And now we have Twin Twister. We do have Twin Twister. I don't know about Twin Twister. Twin Twister is a side grade. It's not even an upgrade. Same thing with like Cosmic Cyclone. That's a side grade, and we're getting off track. I once tried to search and found that there are at least 20 spell/traps that are heavily based off of Mystical Space Typhoon. Oh yeah, that's true. We had Harpy's Feather Duster and Heavy Storm, and we had a lot of options, to tell the truth. Next up, Level Down? Question mark? Or exclamation mark? Question mark? Quick play spell. Select a face-up level monster on the field to activate this card. Hey, it can be your opponent's. Return the selected card to the owner's deck and special summon 1 monster from the owner's graveyard to their side of the field with the same name but lower level, ignoring the summoning conditions. You can dodge removal with this. It's a -1. I don't think that any of the level decks want this. You don't want it in your Dark Horse deck, Horse the Flame, or Horse the Black Flame Dragon. You don't play it there. You don't play it with your Armed Dragons. I like how Level Up got a counterpart, and even the cards confused what it does. Did Chaz use this? It looks like a Chaz card. It's got Armed Dragon level 7 and 5, I believe, on it. I think this card goes, you go -1 and you get a worse monster out of it. Yugi says probably best to use this for when you use it against level monsters. Like, that's gonna happen. At least it has some sick art, yeah? Next up, we have a card that should have been in the Invincible Fortress structure deck, but isn't for some reason. Degenerate Circuit. Continue a spell. The controller of this card pays 500 life points during each of their standby phases. This is not optional. Monster cards that are returned from the field to the hand are removed from play instead. I assume level down was meant to be level counterplay mostly. Not that level counterplay was ever needed from Ms. Mirza. I feel like in terms of a floodgate, Degenerate Circuit doesn't quite get there. We have Dimensional Fizzer, which does more or less what Degenerate Circuit does, but only from the graveyard. Bouncing to hand is one of the core mechanics of the Invincible Fortress deck. You got Ordeal of the Traveler, you got Lost Guardian, and you got Cryosphinx, which causes your opponent to discard cards when you bounce them to their hand. Put in some compulsory evacuation device, and that might actually be a decent strategy in the Invincible Fortress. This card is not even in the 5 most degenerate... I can't say it. From Lyrical Star. Not even in the top 5 most degenerate cards in this set. For Degenerate Circuit. Yeah, we got Chain Strike. I think it's just filler outclassed. I think I'd like Dimensional Fissure a lot better. If there was more cards that bounce to hand for relatively little cost, I think it'd be significantly better. I know we got Storm Shooter directly beneath it, but no, that doesn't count. Card might have some potential. Depends on how future archetypes look. But even then, it's not a lot of potential. Next up, Senate Switch. People were going crazy on this card when the Link mechanic came out and new monster zones, and they're like, oh, we can move it to the extra monster zone or out of the extra monster zone. So this card has had effect changing errata because the game around it changed. I don't consider that a design mistake, just for the record. I think that's fine. But I do want to put it in context. Continue a spell. Once per turn, you can target one monster in your main monster zone and choose one of its unused adjacent horizontal monster zones. Move that target to the chosen adjacent zone. This card does almost nothing. The fact that this card and Zany Zebra shot up in price at the announcement of Lynx is hysterical. Oh man. Guys, Lynx are the best. We need to plan around it. There's actually one column card, and it's coming up next, that's sorta okay. Blasting Fuse has improved a little bit since the Link summon has come out. For one thing, they're going to be using the extra monster zone, and then they're probably going to be using the one directly below it, just based on how Link monsters connect to each other. If they happen to set a card in the same column as that, then you can activate, you can set up for Blasting Fuse. I think this card needs errata, but I'm not holding it against it. Because currently the card says activate when all 4 zones in this card's column are occupied. Destroy all cards in this column. I don't think there's been a reprint for Blasting Fuse, unfortunately. Yeah, it looks like the most recent is still the Cyberdark Impact card. At least in the TCG. Did it get an OCG reprint, maybe? 2017 reprint. I think that might be where it's got its errata. Now it just reads, activate only when all zones of this card's column are occupied. They just took out the number 4. Destroy all cards in this column. So yeah, can hit the extra monster zone. It's a gimmick. We got a tier for gimmick. I think Senate Switch should be acceptable in archetype. Senate Switch is a key piece in Valence. One of the Valence cards specifically searches it. Ooh. Okay. I did not realize Senate Switch was useful in Valence. Valence does a lot of stuff just to summon Fossil Dyna. Isn't Valence also bad? That's true. But I think Blasting Fuse is a gimmick. The Place of Beginnings is the card. I don't know what that means. Next up, we got our counterpart to the Forbidden Spell with Straight Flush. If your opponent controls a card in each of their spell and trap zones, destroy all cards in their spell and trap zones. We get Malevolent Catastrophe, which sorta is better than Straight Flush. It's not out yet, but it's comparative. Heavy Storm's in the game. Harpy Feather Duster is in the game sometimes. Just the situation where your opponent commits everything to board, then I guess they sorta deserve getting their board wiped. This is why sometimes you hold back and don't set everything, don't set 5 pass. The Place of Beginnings is the card that searches Senate Switch. Ah, thank you. Blasting Fuse could have been okay, but it sucked that before links existed, no one followed columns. So you'd have to tell your opponent to follow columns, which would give away the fact that you're playing Blasting Fuse. I guess Blasting Fuse is another card that sort of encourages cheating. Right, Phantom Beasts are in this set. The archetype that I really wish would get an original White Knights design. Wish was the original White Knights design. I don't think Phantom Beasts are really an archetype. I think some of them actually do synergize with the Mecha Phantom Beasts. They have the effects of White Knights in the anime. Ah. So the sneak peek card for this set, I think most sets going forward, is just a card from the set. This set, for instance, it's Justy Break. Normal Trap. When your opponent declares an attack on your normal monster, destroy all monsters on the field except attack position normal monsters. I think if you read this and you squint a little bit, you're like, oh, this is another copy of Mirror Force. But then it also pops your monsters, potentially. Not the one that's being attacked. Unless your normal monster's in defense mode, then it does pop it. I think this card is just bad Mirror Force, and I know that card's limited. Is that Neos? Yes, it is. Ah, the fabled decent normal monster support. It's sad that normal monsters get just worse versions of other cards, where they get creature seizure. That's a hard word to say. Instead of creature swap. White Elephant Gift is not that bad. That's draw support, but you gotta get the normal monsters out, which is hard. I think this card's just bad. Mirror Force, but worse. Next up, Dimensional Inversion. Hey, it's Warrior Digrapher lore. Is this like after he's fighting DD Warrior Lady in the Dimensional Ground, or maybe this is before How Did Dai Get Here? I don't know. He's probably using the interdimensional matter transporter in this art. Normal trap. Activate only when a monster you own is removed from play by an opponent's effect. Special summon one of those monsters. I think that this is too narrow. We don't have different dimension reincarnation. We don't have even escape from the dark dimension. We have miraculous rebirth, which Florida does that. But I think that this is just too narrow of a situation. Karma Cut's in the game. Karma Cut, definitely playable. Dark Core is playable in the game at this point. Macrocosmos and Dimensional Fissure are both in the game at this point too. Not only in the game, but also meta. I think it's just too niche a situation. Even for the side deck, I think it's just too narrow. I think people might have tried Justy Break and Hero Beat because it was Mirror Force if they attacked Neos Alias. Wasn't that good, but it could surprise someone. Yeah. I bet you didn't know that these two cards existed because they are just overshadowed by Chain Strike. But we got Chain Healing. Normal trap, gain 500 life points. If this card was activated as Chain Link 2 or 3, add this card to the deck and shuffle it. If this card was activated as Chain Link 4 or higher, return this card to the hand. So we've talked about like Diane Keto Cure Master. That's a card that just gains you life points. It gains twice as much, it gains you 1,000. Not particularly good. We talked about Nutrient Z. That card gives you 4,000 life points, but the condition is a little bit hard to activate. But 4,000 is a pretty big number. Chain Healing gives you 500, which is worse than Goblin's Secret Remedy. It's worse than Goblin Thief too, because that one burns your opponent as well as heals you. But the upside of this is it shuffles itself into the deck, which I don't consider an upside. Or, ideally, you get it back in your hand, and then you can activate it next turn. So this is recurring healing, sort of. I think Chainlink 4 is really high bar to clear, though. This is a bad effect, but honestly, how the chain cards should have worked. Okay effects that get better on higher chains? Yeah. I like the idea of it recycling itself. I think that's a really good idea. It's just too hard to use. The other chain card is Chain Detonation. Normal trap, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. If this card was activated as Chain Link 2 or 3, add this card to the deck and shuffle it. If this card was activated as Chain Link 4 or higher, return this card to the hand. 500 damage, not a lot of damage. Outshined by Final Flame, for instance. Hinotama does this as a normal spell. At least it does something, though. And it could technically be recurring burn damage. And think about like a Dark Room of Nightmare in a burn deck is making some of those chains a little bit higher. If it was a quick play spell, it'd be better, but still pretty bad. I can agree with that. Chain Strike outshines both of them. Next, we got By Road Sacrifice. Normal trap. Activate only if a monster on your side of the field is destroyed by battle. Special summon one Cyber Ogre from your hand. Well, Cyber Ogre wasn't particularly good. Is this card, say, better or worse than Hero Signal? Well, it's worse than Hero Signal. Is this card better or worse than a Hero Emerges? It's probably worse than a Hero Emerges because it only hits one bad card. I think a hero emerges just beats this. This is definitely an anime card, but the artwork's great. I want to know what monster that is. Next up, we got Trojan Blast. Normal trap. Activate only when an opponent's card effect shifts control of a monster from your side of the field to the... Activate only when your opponent's card effect shifts control of a monster from your side of the field to theirs. So, Change of Heart, Brain Control, Snatch Steal, Dark Necrofear, think those. Destroy that one monster and inflict damage to your opponent equal to its attack. And of course, it's got the Trojan Horse. This is neutral card advantage, because they took one of your cards, but they also probably used one of their cards to take one of your cards. Then you pop your own card, and then you deal damage. It's just that the situation that this needs is really rare. There are decks that steal your opponent's monsters, like aliens and Gradles are probably the most common ones. But I think that this is bad for the same reason that Dimensional Inversion is bad. That's just too narrow. We got the most confusing art to card connection. That's a good observation. One day, they're going to make some Cyber Ogre legacy support since every Cyber style card has gotten new support. It is weird that, like, Cyber style is a domain, that there's different Cyber style and different Jinzo style. I feel like it's underdeveloped in the anime and it would be a little bit cooler. Everyone got their own little micro archetype all underneath the big Cyber umbrella, but there's not like a major Cyber overarching archetype. Trojan Blast is outclassed by Spiritual Fire Art since you can chain it to the steel. That is true. Mid counter card to stuff like Snatch Steal. Next up, Accumulated Fortune. Normal trap. Activate only as chain link 4 or higher. Draw 2 cards. You cannot activate this card if multiple cards/effects with the same name are in that chain. This is a +1 in terms of card advantage. That's pretty good. Obviously, it's too slow for the modern game because it's a trap. You gotta set it. You gotta jump through some hoops too. This card is only useful in Chain Burn, I'd say. Meta at one point, yep. Card's good. It's just not that good. I do want to point out, with Makura the Destructor or Temple of Kings, this card is even more degenerate. Because Reckless Greed, Jar of Greed, Legacy of Yatagarasu, Accumulated Fortune, and just draw a whole bunch of cards off that, and then start a new chain, and just do it all again. If Trojan Blast was also your card effect, then it would have some silly OTK with Xian Spy or something. Exodia/Chain Burn probably used it at some point. Oh yeah. Accumulated Fortune was definitely played. Because, you know, Chain Burn, you gotta get rewarded for playing the game incorrectly. Another weird card from the set is Cyber Shadow Gardena. This is another trap monster. We got Embodiment of Apophis, and I believe that's the only one we got so far. Strangely enough, there's another one in the Machine Structure deck. But we'll get there when we get there. It's really underdeveloped at this point. But what does it do? During your opponent's main phase, special summon this card as an effect monster, Machine, Earth, level 4, !attack, !defense. This card is also still a trap. When an opponent's monster declares an attack that targets this card, The attack/defense of this card become the attack/defense of the attacking monster. I guess in attack position, this card is going to, be a mirror. But if they have a high defense monster, and this is an attack position, or if they have a monster with higher defense than their attack, and this card is in defense position, I guess it could be a little bit better. Once per turn, during your opponent's end phase, set this card in its spell and trap zone. I think it's an okay way of deterring your opponent from attacking. But the big point of this card is that this card sets itself during the opponent's turn, which means you can use Ultimaya Zulkin on your opponent's turn, and you can get out some cheese monsters as a result. Also, it's hilarious how this set did almost nothing on release, but it's probably the GX set with the most long-term impact. I can agree with that. I think we just put it in gimmick because of that Ultimaya Zulkin play. It's not exactly a meta strategy, but I do like how this card has a tiny niche. And it's not for the reason that you think it is. It's not because it's a trap monster. Next up, Vanity's Call. Counterplay Trap. Counterplay Trap? Counter Trap. Activate only as Chainlink 4 or higher. Pay half your life points. Negate the activation and effects of all other cards in the same chain and destroy them. This card sorta counters Chain Burn, but you know what other counter trap counters Chain Burn? Barrel Behind the Door. And Barrel Behind the Door doesn't cost half your life points. In terms of, stopping Chain Strike, because Chain Burn, notorious for doing a lot of damage with one card in particular. I like Vanity's Call in theory, but I don't know why this card cost half your life points. If this was just a counter trap that required you getting all the way up to Chainlink 4, I think it'd be balanced. It does negate everything, which is good, except when, your cards are starting the chain. Like if you're Chainlink 1, this card negates your own card and destroys your own card. So if you're activating a monster effect, for instance, you're losing your own monster. The card's just a little bit too balanced, a little bit too fair. Wow, I loved using Ultimaya, but I've never thought of trying this card. Oh, were you running Dust Tornado with Ultimaya Zulkin? 4 or higher is way too high of a requirement. If this was 3 or higher, Vanity's Call could have been played. I really think half your life points is just too steep. That's okay. And let's finish the set with maybe one of the better cards on the set when we compare it to like Vanity's Fiend, Vanity's Ruler. It's up there, but it's not quite as high as I want it to be. Black Horn of Heaven. Counter Trap. When an opponent would special summon exactly one monster, negate the special summon, and if you do, destroy it. This card is 1-for-1 removal, counter trap speed, only works on special summoning, but, that's most of the game. This card was meta at quite a lot of points. It's a really easy piece in your counter fairy deck. In terms of card economy, it's really good. It does destroy, which is a bit of a problem. Worth considering today, it's a counter trap, but it's still insanely applicable, yeah. I feel like it's almost there. I just don't think that trap cards are quite there yet. It's definitely meta at a lot of points in the game, though. You'd see this teched in to all sorts of things. Let's move on to our Champion Pack cards. These two are from Champion Pack 1. Satellite Cannon. Light attribute, level 5. Machine effect. This card cannot be destroyed by battle with a level 7 or lower monster. Pretty specific. During each of your end phases, this card gains 1000 attack. If this card attacks, the increased attack returns to 0 after damage calculation. 0 attack, 0 defense. I just want to point out Raging Flame Sprite, which can attack directly, gains 1000 attack faster since it's not during the end phase, can be destroyed by battle, but it also gets under Gravity Bind / level limit area B, so synergizes well with a stall deck. And it doesn't reset its attack to 0. Maybe there's a cheese strategy that you can use, just have Satellite Cannon as a defensive wall. We don't have Marshmallow quite yet. You could machine dupe this card, especially if it's in defense mode, get 3 of them out, and then attack for massive damage. It just takes forever. I think we got better ways to do it. Satellite Cannon has an anime-only fusion card. I know about that. Fortunately, no anime cards. Maybe one day it'll be more useful. I can't imagine tribute summoning this card, though. I guess you can get it with a damage condenser, for instance. 0 attack. So if you take any amount of damage, you could use damage condenser, but then you're discarding cards. Not great. And there's also Shining Angel that could bring it out, but that brings it out in attack mode. We're thinking too much about this card. Next up, Thunder Kid. Wind attribute, level 2, Thunder. This monster stores electricity within its body and can unleash it with catastrophic power. 700 attack, 600 defense. There is another card called Electric Lizard. Uncanny resemblance to Thunder Kid. And it's got an effect that paralyzes non-zombie monsters that attack it, which is thematically excellent. And, you know, a little bit of an upside over Thunder Kid. I guess you could use it for the Law of the Normal. My only thought is that maybe this card enables some play with Rescue Hedgehog. They have been slowly releasing anime cards in the Animation Chronicles set. Maybe the Satellite Cannon Fusion will come out one day, and maybe it will be good too. Maybe next Animation Chronicles pack. Maybe. But yeah, Thunder Kid. If Wind Thunder is a unique combination, then Thunder Kid's useful. But I think that's it. Finally, we get to move on to the Phantom Beast cards. First up with Phantom Beast Crosswing. Light attribute, level 4. Beast Warrior effect. Hey, you can get Tenki to search this card. While this card is in your graveyard, all Phantom Beast monsters on the field gain 300 attack. 1300 attack, 1300 defense. Well, it doesn't have to be on the field to boost it, so that's better. It boosts all your monsters' attack, which is good. The fact that it's in the graveyard makes it significantly more useful, but I don't think it's particularly useful. I don't think you play this in archetype. It's sort of interesting. I don't hate it. Yeah. Let's see if it gets better with Phantom Beast Wildhorn. Earth attribute, level 4, Beast Warrior effect. During battle between this attacking card and a defense position monster whose defense is lower than the attack of this card, inflict the difference as battle damage to your opponent. 1700 attack, 0 defense. This card sorta reminds me of Exarion Universe, another level 4 Beast Warrior with similar attack. Is this ever potentially useful? Like, would you tech this in with Tenki like you do with Pitch Black Warwolf at some point? I don't think so. It's worse than Enraged Battle Ox. That's true. So far, 0-0 for Phantom Beasts. But next up, Phantom Beast Thunder Pegasus. Really cool artwork. I love the red and the black. It's really interesting. But light attribute, level 4, Beast Warrior effect. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Then target one Phantom Beast monster you control. That monster you control cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. 700 attack, 2000 defense. We get a graveyard effect, but like, when we compare this to Necrogardna, we sort of see the problem. Necrogardna does the same thing, but better. It gives you a little bit of protection. The problem is I don't think that there's a good way in Phantom Beasts to just fill your graveyard with all these graveyard effects. The archetype's just underdeveloped. Swing and a miss. I think they struck out for now. These cards were cool as an early mill strat, but they packed a critical mass or an easy way to mill them, but they lacked a critical mass or an easy way to mill them. I agree. Okay, we're moving on to our McDonald's pack promos. And I want to go out on a limb and say I am thankful that Elemental Hero Electrum is a McDonald's promo, because I think the card is so crazy a degenerate, having less of them in circulation is not a bad idea. It's a light attribute, level 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Warrior Fusion Effect. Materials are Elemental Hero Avian, Elemental Hero Burstinatrix, Elemental Hero Clayman, and Elemental Hero Bubbleman. Must be fusion summoned. While face up on the field, this card is also Wind, Water, Fire, and Earth attribute. When this card is fusion summoned, shuffle all banished cards into the decks, gains 300 attack for each monster your opponent controls with the same attribute as this card. Starts with 2900 attack, 2600 defense. The problem with this card is Chain Material, Fusion Gate. Since this shuffles all the banished cards back into the deck, with Chain Material, Fusion Gate, you're constantly getting a lot of cards into your banish zone, because Fusion Gate banishes. And this card enables all sorts of loops. I don't know where the problem is. Fusion Gate's balanced on its own. Chain Material is really interesting for what it does. It's too slow for the modern game now. Is Electrum the problem? Maybe. It just feels a little bit wrong to put him all the way up here. Gotta love those 90s comic hero proportions on Electrum. It does look a little bit like a Rob Liefeld. It's not quite there, though. Next up, the anomalous Elemental Hero Mudball Man. Earth attribute, level 6. Warrior Fusion effect. Materials are Elemental Hero Bubbleman and Elemental Hero Clayman. Must be fusion summoned. Cannot be special summoned by other ways. Man. Slow clap. We got it. We figured out the fusion summon. Can't cheat out Mudball Man. And its amazing stat lineup is 1900 attack, 3000 defense. Woo! That's, this card is only restrictions and no benefit. And I think the worst part about Mudball Man is the artwork that they chose compared to the alternate artwork on the website. I love the blue, the lightning. He looks a lot better. Maybe he sort of looks like he has Sparkman as material is the problem with the lightning. I don't know. Man, this card is bad. This card is very bad. I would 100% much prefer to go into like Elemental Hero Absolute Zero than Mudball Man, which you can make with the same materials. A non-effect effect, yeah. You can't even bring this card out with Ready Fusion. It'd be significantly better if it had no text on it. Would Ready Fusion make this card better? Probably not. I've never seen someone even use this guy in Rush Duel. Oh, man. Next up, surprising card, the Flute of Summoning Kuriboh. Quick play spell, take one Kuriboh or one winged Kuriboh from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. This is board presence. I mean, you get the option of, getting Kuriboh and you could discard it if you really wanted to prevent a little bit of damage. But more importantly, you get a level 1 monster just directly onto your field. I am pointing out Kuriboh specifically. I know that Wing Kuriboh is another target, but Kuriboh has Multiply. And Multiply gives you a whole bunch of tokens. And a whole bunch of tokens means a whole bunch of link material. That's only 2 cards. It thins your deck by 1. Doesn't take your normal summon. I think, and I guess you could argue that Wing Kuriboh could also be the defensive option if you really wanted to. It's Rhoda or E-Telly if you squint. I think that's hitting the nail on the head. It is sort of emergency teleport. I don't think it's quite good enough, but a board full of tokens is great. Flute is acceptable in archetype. Oh, that is right. There's a whole Kuriboh archetype now. They just keep printing new Kuriboh cards. I'm a little sad that Flute of Summoning Kuriboh only hits these 2. If it was just a Kuriboh monster, then man. Or a Karib monster, maybe. There's a lot of different variants of it. Like Curry Bandit. It wouldn't be able to get Curry Bandit if it's a Kuriboh. There's also like Curry Photon. Rainbow Kuriboh. It could get Rainbow Kuriboh, but I think the card's okay. Next up, Mist Body. Equip spell. The equipped monster cannot be destroyed by battle. I'm wondering when this is useful. Like, yeah, you could put this on a wall if you wanted to. Give you a little bit of protection, but it's just by battle. It's not by battle or card effect. Turn any of your monsters into a bootleg Spirit Reaper. Maybe you run Mist Body and Gladiator Beast? Because you want your monsters to not be destroyed by battle so that you could shuffle them back into the deck, but then Mist Body just goes to the graveyard, it just falls off. That's not particularly good. Ooh, Mist Body on a barrier statue. Okay. Then your opponent can't run over it? Oh, that's interesting. I guess Moon Mirror Shield does about the same thing. But then they can still destroy it with card effect. I just feel like the amount of protection that you get from Mist Body is not quite enough. Next up, White Horn Dragon. Dark Attribute, level 6, Dragon Effect. When this card is normal or special summoned, hey, it works on special summon. Target up to 5 spell cards in your opponent's graveyard, banish those targets. And if you do, this card gains 300 attack for each card banished by this effect. 2200 attack, 1400 defense. I think the niche that this card plays is small. there's not a lot of ways to get back your spell cards. I mean, if you go up against Diamond Dude Turbo, for instance, yeah, this card can disrupt them because they're using Feather of Phoenix to bring back their cards directly to the deck. Whitehorn Dragon might be a little bit of disruption. I guess the argument is if your opponent is playing Magician of Faith, then Whitehorn Dragon is okay against it. But just getting this card out and getting a beefy monster, that's not bad. It's not exactly a Monarch, but it's sort of like one. The fact that it works on Special Summon is really good, though. Monarchs don't get that benefit, except for Karaz, I think, and maybe Delg get on Special Summon, too. I loved this card as a kid. Coming both from Common X and Milo. Man, two big fans. I know this card also got like a reprint in a special edition. It's not just a McDonald's promo. We're going to say it's good on release. It's got a little bit of potential. Next up, Meteor Dragon. Earth attribute, level 6, dragon normal monster. This dragon appeared from the sky and crashed to the earth. 1800 attack, 2000 defense. This is material for Red Eye's Black Meteor Dragon, I believe, is the name of the card. But that's about it. This card got a retrain with a Gemini monster. I think it's just bad, though. Ooh. Whitehorn Dragon can hit 3700 attack on one tribute, which is nice, yeah? As a kid, I thought it was like a dragon being used with Horn of the Unicorn. Interesting. Next up, Goki Bore. I mixed this card up with Goki Pod and the other Goki one. I believe that this card is the retrain with the effect monster, the one that pops your opposing monster, and requires you to run like Killer Needle or significantly weaker normal monster insects. But this one's just the normal monster. Earth attribute, level 4, insect, normal. A large spherical roach that attacks its enemies by rolling over them. I don't think it's a roach. I think it's a pill bug. Like a roly-poly, but maybe that's just me. 1200 attack, 1400 defense. Where did we put Thunder Kid? We'll put it with Thunder Kid. Next up, we have Metal Guardian. Dark attribute, level 5, Fiend. A fiend guarding the treasures of the Netherworld. It's most at home in the dark. 1150 attack, 2150 defense. On a level 5. I think we just put it next to the Meteor Black Dragon. Goki Bore is an archetype, is an acceptable target for the retrain. That's fair. In Rush Duel, Meteor Dragon has a whole archetype mixed with Red Eyes. And that's good. Maybe one day they'll do it in the TCG/OCG. Okay. I think Goki Bore being acceptable, but not necessarily the best target. We'll put him filler. Next up, Kaiser Dragon. Light attribute, level 7, Dragon Fusion. Materials are Winged Dragon Guardian of the Fortress number 1, that's a mouthful, and Fairy Dragon. We have both of those cards in the game currently. Can't say that about all the fusions in this set. 2300 attack, 2000 defense. I don't think that there's an application. It's level 7, so you can't cheat it out with Ready Fusion. Metamorphosis not in the game anymore. And even if Metamorphosis were, would that be useful? I just don't think that there's an application for Kaiser Dragon. Next up, Amphibious Bugroth. It's the original, guys. We already got the Mark II. We get a Mark III eventually. This is it. Water attribute, level 5, Aqua, Fusion. Materials are Ground Attacker Bugroth and Sentinel of the Sea. 1850 attack, 1300 defense. Sentinel of the Sea isn't released yet. In fact, it takes a while for that card to be released. So you can't properly fusion summon this without like King of the Swamp or the Forgiving Maiden at the time of release, which I think is funny. Worse than the 2 materials of it, and man, I always found the skinny arms really funny and unique on Kaiser Dragon. I wouldn't say it's worse than the 2 materials, it just shouldn't be level 7. It's too high level. I don't know, is Bugroth ever useful as a instant/ready fusion target? Maybe? Like, making a rank 5 XCs that requires a water monster? Maybe. Bad. I'm going to put it in filler for now. Next up, Aqua Dragon. Water attribute, level 6, Sea Serpent, Fusion. Materials are Fairy Dragon, Amazoness of the Seas, which we still don't have, and Zone Eater. 2250 attack, 1900 defense. One of those is an effect monster. Why doesn't this card get an effect? I think we're going to put it right next to Bugroth, a little bit lower. It's also weird, Aqua Dragon, but then it's a Sea Serpent. Looks like a dragon. It's hard to say that any level 6 or lower non-effect fusions are too bad. Ready fusion is always an option, and they can always make an archetype use it. It would be a fun video to see what cards would become so much better or worse if they were pure fusions. Exact combined stats and effects. Oh man. That would be cool. Could you imagine Zone Eater getting the Zone Eater effect on your Aqua Dragon? That would improve the card. We'll write that one down. That's a pretty good idea. Like, could you imagine Mudball Man getting special summoned and then drawing cards off of it? That'd be really good. In fact, I think that'd make Mudball Man worth playing. We'll think about that later. You'd probably have to adapt a lot of effects. You can do a 1-for-1 translation. But could you imagine Miracle Fusion, summon Mudball Man, draw 2 cards? Oh man. Next up, Prajtikal? Prajtikal. I don't know how you're supposed to say that. It sort of looks like practical to me, if I can't read. Earth attribute, level 5, Dinosaur Fusion. Materials are Trachodon and Flame Viper. Both are in this set, so don't worry. You can actually summon this one. 1900 attack, 1500 defense. We'll put it next to Bugroth. I think this card is related to the Transcendensaurus card series, but I don't know if you necessarily use that. They like fusion summons and they like dinosaurs, so there might be an application with it. Level 5 is a little awkward. And finally, the card that everyone's been waiting for. I have a framed picture of Zone Eater on my desk right now. This card is infamous for all the best reasons. But I do want to put in context that it took, let's see, it's 2007 right now. 8 years for Zone Eater to come out in the TCG, when in the OCG, Zone Eater is one of the first effect monsters ever printed. So we've already gotten Steel Scorpion, which power crept Zone Eater. But in context, this card still very bad, but not as bad. Tier 0 meta threat, design mistake, ban Zone Eater, John Konami. What does it do? Water attribute level 1, Aqua, effect. A monster attacked by this card will be destroyed during the end phase of the 5th turn after the attack. 250 attack, 200 defense. So you gotta attack in with it. You're probably gonna lose your Zone Eater, except no, guess what's printed at the exact same time? Mist Body. You could equip Mist Body and then you don't lose your Zone Eater when you're attacking in with it. Then you just gotta wait 5 turns. It's not 5 of your turns, at least. It's just 5 turns in general. So the end phase of your turn, and then 4 more turns after that. This card's a target for Fusion Conscription. This card's searchable. We need a tier above design mistake just for Zone Eater. Too good for the game. Okay. Oh, we gotta think of a good name for it. Oop. It stole my color. Is everyone in agreement with that? Keter class. It's got the SCP designation. I like that. I'll take your Keter class and I'll raise you a Marvel mutant designation that this is Omega level, possibly beyond Omega level. The card is honestly really bad, but it's funny bad. Next up, Flame Viper, Earth Attribute, level 2, Pyro. A fire-breathing snake whose speed makes it a difficult target, 400 attack, 450 defense. I think this card is the only Earth Attribute level 2 Pyro-type monster, which means you can't even use this card with Rescue Hedgehog, because there's not an effect monster equivalent, which I think is silly. This guy, I guess, could be argued as a Pyro. It's Flame Viper, but it looks like a reptile. It's got a counterpart that is a reptile. Man, all the IRL lore you laid out just set it for me, lol. I might need a framed picture of this guy too. Talking about Zone Eater, of course. I like the card. I think it's silly. But I don't think there's any use for Flame Viper. Don't see a lot of Earth Pyros. Oop. Next up, Trachodon. Earth Attribute, level 3, Dinosaur. A tiger-striped dragon. Wait, you just said it was a dinosaur. That is often seen racing across the wasteland at tremendous speeds. 1300 attack, 800 defense. I think Trachodon and Little D are options that you could be running in your Dino Rabbit if you want to make rank 3s. But I think that's it. When can we get Zone Eater in quarter century secret rare? Oh, that'd be nice. Is quarter century 25 years after the card is printed? Or was it just 25 years in the history of the game? Because if it's 25 years after the card is printed, it's 2007. We don't get one till 2032. That's sad. They'll just come out with a brand new rarity for Zone Eater when they reprint it. I think we're just going to keep it in filler. Next up, Dungeon Worm. And I guess this is part of the worm archetype? Maybe? It was the anniversary of the game, but then proceeded to have 3 years of quarter century secret rares. Okay. Well, maybe we will get a Zone Eater secret then. Dungeon Worm. Not actually a worm? In terms of the reptile worms? Or the worms? The fake dragon worms? I don't know if this card should even be included in the archetype, the worm archetype. It's not a reptile worm, so I don't think it counts. Earth attribute, level 5, insect. Hidden under the floors of a labyrinth. It swallows anyone who passes above. Is that worded correctly? Any who pass above. Yeah. 1800 attack, 1500 defense. Let's put it between Meteor and Metal Guardian. Next up, Moon Envoy. Light attribute, level 4, warrior. Many have fallen victim to this Lunar Warrior's Crescent Pike. 1100 attack, 1000 defense. Really bad stat lineup on a level 4, to be honest. We'll put him right here. Good artwork, though. Next up, Stone Dragon. Earth attribute, level 7, rock. But you said you were a dragon. A dragon formed by huge boulders that are also used to attack the enemy. 2000 attack, 2300 defense. Put them right next to the Dungeon Worm. Moon Envoy's design rocks. I think he had a retrain recently. I think so too. And that's it for our McDonald's promos. Overall, one design mistake and a whole bunch of do-nothing cards. But maybe the fusions will be useful one day. We're moving on to our first set of video game promos. Or our second set of video game promos. We already had the Phantom Beast cards. First up is Brain Crusher. Dark attribute, level 7, insect, effect. Once per turn, during the end phase, if this card destroyed an opponent's monster by battle and sent it to the graveyard this turn, while you controlled it, man, that's a lot of words, you can target one of those destroyed monsters in the graveyard, special summon that target. 2400 attack, 1500 defense. Man, Goyo Guardian just looks better every time we talk about one of these cards. You can special summon out Brain Crusher. It's level 7, so if you had a level 6 and an Insect Imitation, you could bring it out. This is not a bad effect. 2400 attack is not a lot. But the actual effect of stealing your opponent's monsters, even if it takes till the end phase, is not bad. Goyo Guardian's significantly better because it's faster, you can do more plays, main phase 2. Brain Crusher walked so Goyo Guardian can run. There's a whole bunch of precursors to Goyo Guardian. There's also Mystical Jackal Knight, which was almost playable. I think it's filler. I don't think the card's quite bad, though. Insects, gotta step up your game just a little. Next up, Hunter Owl. Wind attribute, level 4, Winged Beast effect. This card gains 500 attack for each face-up wind monster you control. While you control another wind monster, your opponent cannot select this card as an attack target. Hey, you know how Marauding Captain can lock your opponent out of attacking? Well, Hunter Owl can do it too. Starts with 1000 attack, 900 defense. So it's not each other face-up wind monster, so I guess it brings itself up to 1500 attack unless it's under skill drain or something. Is there a situation where you can bring out 2 of these easily? I don't think so. Swallow's Nest, maybe. But that requires another monster on board. The art, so cool. And I always thought it was supposed to be a parasite in the brain or something. For Brain Crusher? Man, having this thing inside of you, that would be terrifying. I think Hunter Owl's just bad, unfortunately. Finally, last card for the video game promos is Mass Chopper, Earth Attribute, level 1, Fiend Effect. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict 2000 damage to your opponent. What was it? Cyberdark Keel that did 300 points of damage? Well, this guy does 2000 points of damage. And it's not that hard to get this guy over things. Get Dark World Shackles, we get Moon Mirror Shield. This guy's a menace with Moon Mirror Shield, for instance. I don't think it's particularly good, but I do think it's funny. 100 attack, 100 defense. There is probably an OTK that you could do with Moon Mirror Shield, Mass Chopper, and a way to make this card attack multiple times. I don't think it's a good idea, but it'd be really funny to see it. Isn't Mass Chopper a Full Metal Alchemist reference? Ooh, maybe. I haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist. Okay, we're moving on to the Machine Revolt deck. And man, this deck sets an interesting precedent. All the structure decks up until this point only got a handful of new cards, but look how many this one got. It got Gadgetron Dragon, Chimera, Engineer, Boot Sector, 3 gadgets, 4 Ancient Gear support spells, and the Moving Fortress. It got so many cards. I wish the Dinosaur structure deck, for instance, got more cards, because at the time of its printing, there were only 23 dinosaurs in the entire game. Which, it baffles my mind that they thought, 23, that's enough. We can make a structure deck out of this. And that's including the Superconductor Tyranno, which is exclusive to that structure deck. Mass Chopper offers an interesting challenge, and the implication is that he's gnome-sized is hilarious. I think it is an interesting challenge. But let's move on to Ancient Gear Gadgetron Dragon. And I think this is pretty intentional, the name, to try to make sure that this isn't a gadget monster. It is an Ancient Gear monster. That part's pretty clear, but to future-proof it and make sure it's not part of the gadget archetype, which does come out later. Earth Attribute, level 8, Machine Effect. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate any spells/traps until the end of the damage step. So it's got the normal Ancient Gear effect. This card gains the appropriate effects if you normal summon it by tributing these monsters. Green Gadget. This card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Red Gadget. If this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, inflict 400 damage to your opponent. Why? Yellow Gadget. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflicts 600 points of damage to your opponent. Why? It is interesting that the green gadget and the red gadget synergize together, and the red gadget and the yellow gadget synergize, or the green and the yellow synergize together. You want to be tributing 2 gadgets so that you can get both of these effects, but man, 400 damage is definitely better than Cyberdark Keel, but not by much. 600 damage, also better than Cyberdark Keel, but let's be honest. 3,000 attack, 2,000 defense. This card is pretty much a vanilla monster most of the time because you cheat it out with Gear Town. This is the best target for a lot of the game for Gear Town, because when Gear Town is destroyed, or maybe if it's just removed from the field, you get to special summon a big ancient gear from your deck. And this is your number 1 target. And that's pretty much a vanilla monster. It's pretty much a Blue Eyes White Dragon that you get to special summon directly from the deck. It does have that benefit of shutting off spell and traps in the damage step, though. That's pretty good. Do you play this card in Ancient Gears is the question. Yeah. Jace. Galgotron was just a 3k that was summoned off Gear Town. It does get the spell and trap disruption, though. I don't think you play it in modern Ancient Gears, though. Next up, Ancient Gear Gadgiltron Chimera. Earth attribute, level 6, machine effect. This card gains the appropriate effects if you normal summon it by tributing these monsters. Green gadget. This card gains 300 attack. Red gadget. If this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Yellow gadget. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict 700 damage to your opponent. Why does this do more damage than the dragon? 2300 attack, 1300 defense. Sad part about this is you can only ever attribute 1 gadget for this, so you can't stack the effects like you can with the Ancient Gear Gadgiltron Dragon. I think this card's pretty underwhelming, though. It's nice to see more Ancient Gears that can be special summoned, though, because Ancient Gear Golem and Ancient Gear Beast can't. It's also nice that, you know, the effects that you get from tributing gadgets aren't very good, because then you don't get FOMO if you're tributing other monsters, I guess. That's silly. Next up, Ancient Gear Engineer. Earth attribute, level 5. Machine effect. Negate any trap effects that target this card, and if you do, destroy that trap card. So it already starts out with a little bit of protection. I guess from trap holes, for instance. Or Sakuretsu armor, or there's a good amount of trap cards that actually target. Karma Cut. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate any spell/traps until the end of the damage step. At the end of the damage step, if this card attacked, target 1 spell/trap your opponent controls, destroy that target. Only has 1500 attack, 1500 defense, though. Would you believe that this saw play teched at 1 in a deck at the time? It is a decent rat target, yep. I hope that the lore is that he can dig his way out of those trap holes. Oh, that's silly. I have seen exactly 1 copy of Ancient Gear Engineer in 1 meta deck 1 time. I don't know if that is putting the bar too low, but I have seen it before. It's sort of like Breaker the Magical Warrior, but it's got some other utility on it. Not bad. Next up, Boot Up Soldier, Dread Dynamo. Earth attribute, level 4, machine, effect. While you control a gadget monster, this card gains 2000 attack. So this is one of those cards that I guess would be too powerful if the Gadgetron Dragon would activate this card, Dread Dynamo. I don't know. Let's think about this for a second, though. An Earth attribute level 4 machine that would have 2,000 attack, 2,000 defense. That's not that good in the positive case. I guess what you could do is get out Dread Dynamo, Machine Dupe, and then get out 3 of them, and then normal summon a gadget, get another gadget, and then attack in, and you'd have 3 2,000 attack point monsters. It's just not competing with Cyber Dragon, though. Now let's go into the gadgets. First up, Green Gadget, Earth Attribute, level 4, Machine Effect. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 red gadget from your hand to your deck, or from your deck to your hand. Don't add it from your hand to your deck. 1, that's cheating, and 2, it's useless. 1,400 attack, 600 defense. One of the cool things about the gadgets is the color in the background tells you what gadget it shows you what gadgets. So the color in the background of Green Gadget is yellow. The gears in the background are red. So green gets red, yellow gets green, red gets yellow. It's a nice little piece of flavor in the artwork. I like it. But let's go ahead and read the other 2 gadgets. Red Gadget, Earth Attribute, level 4, Machine Effect. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 yellow gadget from your deck to your hand. 1,300 attack, 1,500 defense. They do have slightly different stat lineups. And finally, Yellow Gadget, Earth Attribute, level 4, Machine Effect. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 green gadget from your deck to your hand. 1,200 attack, 1,200 defense. It's crazy that gadgets were released in the OCG's GOAT format. They ran the throwback event in Master Duel, and gadgets were so good. Okay, but which gadget is your personal favorite? I'll come back to that. Probably Green Gadget. I think gadgets are ahead of their time. The fact that you get it off a special summon is ridiculous. You can just make so much card advantage with gadgets. You can also special summon them directly from the deck with the Gear Giant X, I believe, and just go +1. I think gadgets are possibly worth considering today. They're grindy, they're a little bit slow, but man, are they good for card advantage. Gotta be yellow for you, Malachite. Okay. There is new gadget support too, with the gold and the silver gadgets, and they get a little bit faster. If you want, I would pretty easily be persuaded to bump them down to meta at one point. But I think that there's enough of a fan base for gadgets. Gadgets fascinated me mostly for the lore and the way they're used as cores for huge robots. Yeah. Aesthetically, they definitely fit with the Ancient Gears. Next up, Ancient Gear Workshop. Normal spell, target 1 Ancient Gear monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. It's like the warrior returning alive. I think in terms of archetype, a lot of other decks wouldn't mind this card, which is usually where we put the bar. It's not that the effect is particularly good, but it's also not bad. When has the warrior returning alive seen play? Not very often, but sometimes you take it in. Learned about 5th Gadget this past week. One of the first competitive decks to not run 40 cards. Cool. Next up, Ancient Gear Tank. Equip spell. And man, equip spells are crazy. You can get like a little sword or a ring, like the Ring of Magnetism, or you could get a whole tank. This is a lot of equipment, man. Anyway, equip only to an Ancient Gear monster. It gains 600 attack. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, inflicts 600 damage to your opponent. It's sort of like a Fuma Shuriken, where it does something after it's destroyed. I guess this card is more copies of Fuma Shuriken in your reversal quiz deck. Of course, you could also run Black Pendant and some other cards with it. I don't think that that's the critical mass that you need for your reversal quiz FTK. It's nice to see an equip card do more than one thing, but I just think it's bad. 600 is a lot of attack points, though. Gadget Sentai Gadget Man. They retrained Ancient Gear Tank as a monster? Yeah. The best part of it, most of the swords are a better choice than the tank. Yeah. An Amulet of Ambition. There's a whole bunch of small equip spells. Next up, Ancient Gear Explosive. Normal spell, target one Ancient Gear monster you control, destroy it, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half of its original attack. This card gets better later when we get the fusions, and the fusions get pretty big in terms of original attack. But I guess right now we got a 3000 beater, 1500 damage. Can you FTK with this? I don't think so. It tributes your monster, and it does mediocre damage at best. I don't think you even play this in archetype. Next, another equip spell. This one's just a fist. Like, do you put it on top of your fist? I don't know. Ancient Gear Fist. Equip spell. Equip only to an Ancient Gear monster. At the end of the damage step, if the equipped monster If the equipped monster battled a monster and is still in the field, destroy the monster it battled. Man. This turns your Ancient Gears into Bullblader, which is okay. But then you're attacking into like defense position monsters. Or worse, you're attacking into monsters with more attack and you're losing your monster. And then you're destroying their cards. It's just pretty underwhelming. Maybe the trade-off is, yes, the Machine Revolt printed a whole bunch of cards, but none of them are particularly good. Finally, we get another trap. Well, not just a trap, another trap monster. Continuous trap, Stronghold the Moving Fortress. Special summon this card in defense position as an effect monster. Machine type, Earth, level 4, attack 0, defense 2000. This card is also still a trap card. While you control green gadget, red gadget, and yellow gadget, this card gains 3000 attack. That is really specific. Like, you remember Boot Soldier only needed one gadget monster, and it gained 2000 attack. So for triple the requirement, you get 50% more return. Since it's Ancient Gear, maybe they take off their hand and replace it with the fist? Maybe. I think the AG monster just swaps one of their hands out for the new one. I think Stronghold the Moving Fortress is a okay idea, especially in this deck because you want to be tributing big monsters. I just don't think it's executed that well. Trap monsters just aren't there yet. Moving on, we got our Shonen Jump promo. This is a tournament promo. It was actually pretty hard to get from what I understand. I'm reading the original printing of this card, and we'll get to that in a minute. Crush Card Virus, normal trap. Tribute 1 dark monster with 1000 or less attack. Check all monsters on your opponent's side of the field, your opponent's hand, and all cards they draw until the end of the opponent's third turn after this card's activation, and destroy all monsters with 1500 or more attack. This card is crazy. This card is not just destroy all the monsters on your opponent's side of the field most of the time. It's also 3 turns of information and hand disruption. It's passive hand disruption too. The requirement's easy. 1000 attack is not a lot of attack points. I don't know if this card has appreciated in value. We'll get to the elephant in the room. Like 1500 attack used to be most cards in the game that were being competitively played, but now a lot of cards are lower attack because a lot of cards are stepping stones, so possibly Deck Devastation Virus is better now. But man, Crush Card Virus, getting that information, getting 3 turns of hand disruption, just shutting your opponent out is a really strong play. You could only get this by winning a YCS. The teams that won a YCS could use this card, sweeping the next YCS. This winning more copies of Crush Card Virus, absolutely disgusting. Yeah. That's not the elephant. I feel a primal rage whenever a virus card shows up. Wait till we get to the alien virus. Okay. Let's talk about it. Crush Card Virus has had effect-changing errata. Now it reads, tribute 1 dark monster with 1000 or less attack. Your opponent takes no damage until the end of the next turn after this card resolves. Also, you look at your opponent's hand and all monsters they control, and if you do, destroy the monsters among them with 1500 or more attack. Then your opponent can destroy up to 3 monsters with 1500 or more attack in their deck. Which is so baffling and can go really wrong because so many cards like to float. Can you imagine going up against a dinosaur deck and then they just pop 3 baby Ceratosaurus and get out 3 monsters for free? Go against a Fire King deck and they're popping all sorts of things. They're popping High Avatar Garunix. They're popping Sacred Phoenix of Nifs. Bring both of those out at the same time. They're popping Barong. They're popping anything, really. Funny enough, Gadgets all slipped under this. So they did release a competitive strat that ducked over Crush Card Virus in the same release window. Ooh. Virus are, I guess Gadgets are a little bit better then. So Crush Card had effect-changing errata. And I think they overcorrected again. I just don't understand why they did this to Crush Card. Your opponent takes no damage until the end of the next turn. Makes sense. If you're wiping their board, they don't want you just pushing through and attacking directly. But I don't understand why they get to choose what monsters are destroyed. I guess Crush Card was pretty oppressive, getting to pop so many cards, shutting your opponent down for 3 turns. Crush Card might just win you the game in its original form. And it wasn't exactly difficult to bring out either. They went overboard with the Crush Card errata. I think that's been the story for almost all the errata so far, where they just overcorrect and eventually the game just gets fast enough that the card could be brought off the ban list without any changes. Like right now, would you play Crush Card? Maybe. In the right deck. The effect is really strong though. It can still win you the game. They basically only errated it so that they could make the Doom Virus Dragon. That might make sense. Otherwise, they'd never bring it off the ban list. I can see that. But man, it just feels bad every time they make a card unplayable. Or significantly less playable. You know what's crazy? The OCG got Crush Card, Deck Devastation, and Eradicator Epidemic all released in the same structure deck. But in TCG, we gotta fight for scraps and win SGSs? Crazy. We should undo some errata one day? I wish. Crush Card nowadays wouldn't be OP, but still good, to be honest. I think there's an argument for it being overpowered still. But sad what they did to my boy. Next up, Magical Stone Excavation. Normal spell. Discard 2 cards, then target 1 spell in your graveyard, add it to your hand. This is expensive. We have Spell Reproduction, which does basically the same thing. This is significantly better than Spell Reproduction. I believe that's discard 2 spells to get back 1 spell. I don't think that this card has ever been used for anything constructive. But I know that there are certain FTK decks that have used Magical Stone Excavation to dig through and get their power spells and reuse them. But that's about it. The best part of Crush Card Virus today would be the hand knowledge. I can agree with that. The interesting part about Crush Card, though, is it doesn't hit most hand traps. That is true. Magical Stone Excavation can be used with Diamond Dude. It's pretty good in Rush Duel. But in Rush Duel, you just get cards for free. You get, like, draw 5 cards every turn. What loop does this enable again? What loop does it enable? I think you use Magical Stone Excavation in the deck that mills through your entire deck. You might run it in Chicken Game, to be honest. I just think the card's degenerate. But that's true. Great copy for Diamond Dude. Moving on. We're in Champion Pack 2, by the way. We got Happy Lover, Light Attribute, level 2, Fairy. Enemies become overjoyed when struck by the heart ray emitted from the forehead of this tiny cherub. 800 attack, 500 defense. We're going to put it next to Trachodon. Card's really cute, at least. Helped out certain spellcaster decks and a lot of decks in general. And Rush Duel, it's even limited to 1. That's fair. Different format, though. Next up, Card Trooper. Earth Attribute, level 3, Machine, Effect. Once per turn, you can choose a number from 1 to 3. Then send that many cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard. This card gains 500 attack for each card sent to the graveyard this way, until the end of this turn. If this card you control is destroyed and sent to your graveyard, draw 1 card. So that's by battle or by card effect. That's pretty good. 400 attack, 400 defense. So, Card Trooper, notorious for the Troop Dupe Scoop combo, where you get out Card Trooper, you activate Machine Duplication, you bring out 2 more copies of Card Trooper, you mill 9 cards, you got 3 monsters with 1900 attack, and then you just attack in for big damage. The fact that Card Trooper replaces itself is pretty strong. It's one of Lina's pets. Yeah, Troop Dupe Scoop. Wasn't Happy Lover used in early Herald decks with advanced ritual art? What? What in Jaden's good cards? That's true. It's one of Jaden's random cards, too. Like, it does not synergize with this deck particularly well. I guess Miracle Fusion, but, you know. Let's talk about one of Jaden's worst cards. Light Laser. Equip spell. Equip only to a light warrior-type monster. Like a Moon Envoy Knight, I guess. Remove from play any monsters that battle with it at the end of the damage step. So it sort of turns your monster, your light warrior, into DD warrior lady, which is not bad. But I feel like you're going 2 for 1 most of the time. Where either you're attacking into something big and then you're going -1 as a result, or you're attacking into defense position monsters you can't get over, and then banishing them, which is not bad. But then you're still taking damage. I see Card Trooper every day in Rush Tool. It's a very good card. Man, Card Trooper was one of the first cards I ever had, and I never understood how strong it was. Oh, man. I think it's just very bad. Or maybe we put it in normal bad. We'll put it in normal bad for now. Next up, Burial from a Different Dimension. Almost said Different Dimension Casket for some reason. Burial from a Different Dimension. Quick play spell. Target up to 3 of your banished monsters. Return them to the graveyard. Sort of a -1, but man, do you love this card in Zombies? Get back 3 of your Mizukis? That's pretty strong. The card was definitely meta at some point. Oop. The card was definitely meta at different points throughout the game. We have possibly better options now. It is sort of disruption if your opponent needs monsters banished. Sort of like the Transmigration Prophecy. But you can recycle a lot of different graveyard effects with it. Good and was meta. 3 spent Skull Servants get sent back to the bin. Another 3k to the king. That's true. Fantastic card in early Thunder Dragon, in my opinion. That's fair. I feel like it has a niche, but what is it? Pot of Avidity? It's one of the new pot cards. Pot of Acquisitiveness. Sorta does the same thing. Draws you a card instead. I don't know. 2 different flavors. Recycled graveyard effects is good though. Next up, Edgehammer. And this is another case where the website artwork is just better in my opinion. So the artwork on the card doesn't have enough black in it, and there's not enough contrast. Like the electricity and the green look too similar to Blade Edge in terms of shade, but you get the harsh black from this particular artwork, and it looks so much better as a result. That might just be me though. Normal trap. Tribute 1 elemental hero Blade Edge to target 1 monster your opponent controls. Destroy that target and inflict damage to your opponent equal to that target's original attack. Unfavorably, we can compare this to Ring of Destruction. Ring of Destruction does this and doesn't cost you an elemental hero Blade Edge. But ignoring that for a second, this is 2 for 1 removal, and it does burn your opponent. I think that this card is just bad. I don't think it's very bad. Edgehammer. I think you meant axe. I don't know. It looks pretty blunt on this end. I can see why it looks like an axe to you, though. Card's a little bit better if you're like using Elemental Hero Prisma. and then copying Blade Edge because that can be used as fusion material. A little bit more reliable, I guess. I just don't want to be going 2 for 1, even if I do get burn damage as a benefit. Next up, Kid Guard. Normal trap. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, tribute 1 hero kid, negate the attack, then add 1 elemental hero monster from your deck to your hand. Even more elemental hero consistency. But I think Jaden has negate attack, which just ends the battle phase. I don't want to be tributing my monsters to negate a single attack, even if I do get a rebate. I think it's just very bad. Like most of the elemental hero weapons, Edgehammer's another dud. I can agree with that. We're moving on to Duelist Pack 5. What happened to Duelist Pack 4? It comes out later. Why'd they release 5 before 4? No clue. This is Aster's pack, and although we only get 4 cards, a couple of them are really good. Starting off with Destiny Draw. Normal spell, discard a Destiny Hero card, draw 2 cards. I have never noticed that says Destiny Hero card. It doesn't say Destiny Hero monster. That might be future-proofing for spell and trap support. Like, all the Destiny Hero cards are like D something, or Over Destiny is the next one. I can't think of any Destiny Hero spell or traps. I think Destiny Draw is worth considering today. Not only are Destiny Heroes a good engine, but you get Malicious, you can use Plasma. Plasma's not bad. You get trade-in options. It just makes your deck very fast. This is draw power. It's not once per turn. It's just draw acceleration. And when your Destiny Heroes hit the graveyard, you can use them as ammo for Over Destiny. Normal spell, target a Destiny Hero monster in your graveyard, special summon 1 Destiny Hero monster from your deck whose level is less than or equal to half of that target's level, but destroy it during the end phase of this turn. I think Over Destiny, 1, it doesn't negate your monster effects, which is fantastic. Special summoning directly from the deck. It's not a -1. You don't even banish the Destiny Hero monster from your graveyard. So if you only have like a Malicious in there, you don't have to banish it for this effect. It's not once per turn. You can get out utility monsters like Doomlord, for instance. I think this is the card that makes Destiny Heroes worth playing as an engine. To me, at least, Destiny Draw Over Destiny, fantastic. Let's see what else Aster has to bring. Next up is D-Counter. Man, Doomlord is in all the artwork for all the Destiny Hero cards. He must be the favorite. Normal trap. When a face-up Destiny Hero monster you control is targeted for an attack, destroy the attacking monster. This card is strictly worse than Sakuretsu Armor. I guess this is your 5-6 or your 4-5-6 copies of Sakuretsu Armor if you really need it. But I think that this card is just strictly worse. In terms of effect, though, this is not a bad effect. Sakuretsu Armor is completely playable for a lot of the game. 1-for-1 removal, not bad. Doomlord admittedly has the best design of any Destiny hero. Oh man, those are fighting words. I like Departed a lot. I like Dreadmaster. I don't like Defender. I don't like Dunker. And we're not even talking about like the fusions. The fusions are really good. I like Plasma a lot. Okay, Doomlord is really good though. I'm not gonna lie. Doomlord is one of the best visual Destiny heroes. And finally, we end on the worst card in the video? Eternal Dread. Normal Trap. Place 2 clock counters on each clock tower prison. Wait a second. I think this card had errata. Why would they reprint this card? But I guess now this works on your opponent's clock tower prison as well? For the Destiny Hero mirror match, where you're both trying to bring out Dreadmaster? That's never going to happen. Dogma is top tier design too. I agree with that. Yo, this card goes crazy in the mirrors. I think this card sorta does less than Pyro Clock of Destiny. I know it gives you 2 counters. Wow, 2 counters. But this is not much. I think that's the list. It is a very polarizing list. A few cards worth considering today, but mostly not from the booster set. A whole bunch of just bad and very bad. Download and save. Ooh, it did it quickly tonight. That's the list. And it's pretty late. I hope everyone sleeps well and has a good night tonight. Thank you for another great stream. Sets are getting a little bit different. There are some cards in this set that I'd never seen before doing the research. Like the Iris card that draws cards. Here's some interesting cards too. I like where the game is going. Good night, everyone. Good night, Malachite. What is the next set, though? Next set is Strike of Naos, apparently. That's a good set. There's some interesting cards coming out in Strike of Naos, to be honest. So, we'll be hitting that next week, next Thursday. Hopefully a little bit earlier, because I have a feeling that one's going to go pretty long too. Good night, Milo. Have a good one.